Hello everybody and welcome back to Football Manager 2022, but it's a new series. Yes, Botafogo, Bankrupt Botafogo in Brazil, which is a league I've never managed in before. But before we dive into the save, let's have a quick recap of how Botafogo got to this position. Nilton Santos, Garrincha, Jairzinho, Almir and Didi during various times throughout their history have shone for arguably the best or at least the most decorated national team in football history. But who did they shine for when they were back in the country of coffee? Only one name springs to mind. It's Botafogo. To set the stage, you need to realise that Brazilian clubs aren't the richest. Often, teams with tons of sponsors on their shirt, which is where most of their club's wealth is generated from. Most teams tend to have very limited budgets to work with, and not just in terms of transfers. If we can rewind back a couple of years ago, despite signing one of the biggest and best sponsorship deals in Brazilian football in 2007, Botafogo's last decade has been nothing short of tragic. Various financial crises and huge amounts of debt saw the team be relegated for the first time in their history in 2015. They quickly came back the following year, but unfortunately just didn't learn their lesson. The season kicked off late, and under the management of Pablo Autori, the club managed 2 wins, 6 draws and 1 loss at the start of their campaign. That's not too bad, apart from the performances were looking really dull and the side were just about avoiding relegation. If the championship had ended there, they would have just been safe. And boy did they wish that was the case, because at the start of October, Autori was sacked and the club opted to trust in Bruno Lazzaroni. He lasted a month. His 2 victories to kick off where he started were a beacon of shining light, but what ensued were 2 straight months without a win. 9 losses and 3 draws sank the team to rock bottom, almost no hope of a return to safety. An odd win via another relegated side, Coritiba, was nothing compared to another 2 months of losses that ensured relegation. Back in Rio, Botafogo now had quite a job on their hands. Directors of football and board members were changing. It was nothing drastic or too much beyond the norm, but moves are being made and evidently some changes are starting to occur. The club sold whoever they could, bar 1 or 2 players so they could string a sensible budget for the 2021 campaign. The keys to the castle were given to Marcelo Chamusca, whose appointment received mixed reviews. Chamusca had never really impressed anywhere at all. With Botafogo being a legendary club, their fans expected either someone young with flair and new ideas, or a really well-respected veteran. Chamusca was neither, and it sort of showed. His dealing in the transfer markets were more miss than hit, although obviously the board also had a say there. Most of the players he brought in were poor and would barely see game time, and it reminded fans of a repeat of what had been going on previously. The most exciting names were that of Che, who was mostly known for his stint at Flamengo, in their 7-a-side team, and Joel Carley, who had played before at the club during the 2016, 17, 2018 and 19 seasons. And so they kicked off the 2021 Regional Championship campaign, and things didn't really look any different. Dull, poor performances that rarely saw Botafogo score more than 1 goal against any half-decent side. The fans quickly turned on Chamusca, and radio co-hosts interviewed various ex-players who were joking they were falling asleep during the club's games. But the Botafogo fans were adamant that the club's young core of players could steer this club to something better than what Chamusca could get anything out of them. But funnily enough, they were right. Midway through July, with just about 10 games into the Serie B season, Chamusca was sacked. The club was once again mid-table, and a return to Serie A seemed all but distant. And then one appointment changed everything. In came Anderson Moreira, who was also really not greeted that well, albeit not at first anyway. He steadily managed to galvanise everybody into trusting his processes. Out of nothing, a leaky defence was quickly fixed. With a bit more work, Moreira opted to trust veteran Joel Carley, who was up until then unused at all that season. Moreira showed a stern hand too, as with most of the cases in the Brazilian league. He started to release some players for whom he had no use and managed to ease some stress on the wage bill. It therefore gave him a little bit of wiggle room in the transfer market. Guilherme Santos and Marcinho left, and he brought in veteran Carlinhos from Fortaleza, who were actually a top 4 team at Serie A at the time, and he helped fill in at left back for Botafogo. Moreira was showing that it took trust and confidence to boost this mix of talented youngsters and seasoned veterans, and with the right amount of work, they could explode and really attack Serie B. They lost on the 3rd of October to Avaí, but the side after that never lost again in the league. They knocked off Cortiba, who are widely tipped to win Serie B, straight off their perch, and they snatched the title from beneath them. In the last game of the season, which had absolutely no meaning, the club had 36,000 fans at their home stadium, a complete full house. An unbelievable thought at the beginning of the season. Obviously, though, Botafogo is still not in an ideal situation. There are question marks around the club's financial stability. Will they find commercial partners that can subsidise the side through the Serie 22 campaign? That's yet to be found. On top of that, slowly and steadily the side will carry on excluding players who they do not deem a good fit for the club. It could be financially or ability driven. It seems if the atmosphere around the club is just different. It's better, but it's not perfect. There is a feel-good factor in the air, but at the moment it depends on the whole club to seize that moment and build on it. Botafogo is once again at a crossroads, and they've been here before in 2015-16. Bad decisions took them down a bad path and put them in a bad spot. There was a chance for a new dawn. Will they push on? Well, we're about to find out because they've just appointed Cultured Left Foot. Okay, thank you, Past Dave, for that lovely little bit of history there with some images for you all as well. If you enjoyed that, leave a like on the video. If you're excited for the series, leave a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, why not subscribe? It's free, isn't it? It's free for you to click the little subscribe button. It would be much appreciated. Right, back off the success of the Sunderland save. We are back with another Football Manager save. We are Botafogo Manager. Now, what actually makes Botafogo very interesting is that they've just sacked the manager, Moreira, on the 11th of February. So they actually, in real life, don't have a manager at the moment. They've got an interim manager. They're looking for a new one. But yes, he got them promoted. And slightly into the new season, he has been sacked. So they're quite ruthless, I would say, as a board. So it'll be very interesting to see how this goes. But we have been hired. Botafogo hire Nichols as manager. We have today confirmed the appointment of Dave Nichols as the club's new manager. The appointment of the inexperienced 35-year-old is sure to face plenty of questions when he faces the media for the first time at the Estadio Nilton Santos, who was obviously one of the famous ex-players who played for Brazil from Botafogo, doing a great job. Nichols has put pen to paper on a 2-year deal worth 9.25k per week. He replaces previous manager Luis Castro. I'm not too sure why he's there. Nichols lacks the reputation of a title specialist, which, given the club's current ambition, creates an intriguing dynamic as they intend to challenge for major honours. Now, you might be thinking, Dave, why is this bankrupt Botafogo? What's the finances like? Well, annoyingly, since the winter update and the transfer update, the data update I've put onto this save so that Botafogo are in Serie A, they're not as bad as they were. They're still not brilliant. If we look at finances then, the whole premise of this save, 3.617 million, so the 3.6 million pounds is in the overall balance, which doesn't look too bad. We've got a transfer budget of 1.17 million pounds. We've got a wage budget of nearly 300,000 pounds a week. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that, shall we? The good old debts and loan page. This is where we spent quite a lot of time in the Sunderland save, and in my Wrexham Twitch save, we are also spending quite a lot of time on this page. Net debt of £22 million. Now, but pre-update, that was £140 million, so it did make a bit of a difference. But we are paying back a state loan interest-only payment at the moment, of which we'll be paying £43,000 a month, or £43,500 a month, until 2040, which is not very fun, is it? If you think £43,500 a month, that is, quick maths, £500,000 a year, roughly, up until 2040. So the finances are looking pretty bad. Whatever profit we make, we also have to minus off £500,000. And we don't really make too much money. Club membership brings in about 1.1 million a season, and the main kit sponsor pays us 1.6 million a year up until 2023. So we're going to have basically one season of that sponsor, because the season will start in January 2022. That's going to run out on the 1st of March 2023, which is basically the start of the second season, or just into the second season. So yeah, so that total is 2.7 million minus £500,000 off that gives us 2.2 million, which has got to finance the whole club. So yeah, That's why this is going to be tough. If we look at the projection, obviously the money does project that it's going to go up. That's because players are leaving on contracts and things like that. But it's not looking amazing. So we do need to have a look at the expenditure and keep an eye on this as we go, as well as the income as well, and see what happens through this. See where, as you can see here, the majority of our money comes through sponsorship and through fundraising, which is not something you always want to rely on. There will be player sales. There will be releasing of contracts, similar to what the intro little historic video suggested, is that clubs in Brazil seem to always have quite a big turnover of players to manage their budgets. And they look for that really highly rated youngster to bring in quite a lot of money. Like, if you look at the moment, we're currently spending nearly £75,000 a week on wages. And I don't want to get anywhere near that wage budget of 293 grand a week, because that's going to put us into considerable financial trouble. And I think that's what we've got to try and avoid. Now, the premise of this whole save is youth. We are looking to bring through Brazilian youth players and try and do as best we can with Botafogo. If that is winning the Copa Libertadores, so be it. If that is winning the Brazilian First Division, the Serie A, then so be it. But I have no idea what the expectations are for this save. I have no idea how it's going to go. I've never managed in Brazil before. I've never really used Brazilian youngsters in a large number. I've signed them for every club I've been at in like the Premier League or something like that. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. We're going to be on this page quite a lot, or this area, the finance industry area, quite a lot, to make sure that finances are ticking over nicely. I'm going to be very intrigued once we get into this and we start paying monthly wages, what our finances are going to look like in, say, I don't know, 3 months. Let's see what we're looking at in terms of an actual budget and in terms of an overall balance. It's going to be very, very interesting. So on to a bit more news then. So 2 players are running out of contract, or they're in their last year of their contract. And actually, they run out in April, which is a little bit bizarre, to be honest, because if we go into the schedule, the league starts in January. That's the Rio State Cup. Okay, that's the Rio State. So the actual league does start in May. Right, this is going to be weird. As I said, I've not played in Brazil. I've very rarely played in South America. I've done one previous save, and it was in Peru, and it was my first ever YouTube save. Don't go and check it out. It's embarrassing. But yes. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. But Carlinhos, the veteran left-back, who is on quite a big wage at 3.9 grand a week, does look good, but he is 35. He has come, as it mentioned, was signed from Fortaleza. And I'm going to be butchering names all over the place in this save. But yeah, so that's interesting. He's been offered a contract, so we'll have to see what happens there. And Gabriel Tigro, who is a youth prospect, Brazilian, 20 years old, £75 a week. Looks like he's got some pace and some finishing ability. So you never know. He is wanted by, Novo Horizontino on the end of his contract. So I think, we're going to go and assess the team, and then we'll decide whether Gabriel Tigro is going to be getting a new contract. But for now, not too many people are running out of contracts, which is good, I guess. Right, we need to set up tactics. I'll do all of that off camera. Right, club vision. Sign high reputation players. That's probably not going to happen because we don't really want to sign anyone. The plan of this whole save is never sign anyone for money. Like, that might change and it might adapt as the finances get better, but we'll have to wait and see. Develop players using the club's youth system. That is key. That is something we're clearly going to do in this whole save. Work within the wage budget. That's going to be fundamental to the project in terms of sorting out the finances. They want us to qualify the Copa Sul-Americana, which I think means we have to finish quite high up in the division. We'll have a look at that in a minute. The Rio State, they want us to reach the semi-final. Copa do Brazil, reach the 4th round. And the Copa RS Sub-20 is not important, which is good because I have no idea what that is. And then qualifying for the Copa Libertadores, hopefully get a renewal of our contract, otherwise it will be a very short series. And then in 3 years, they want to win Serie A. Okay, that's going to be very tough because I've just said we're not really going to be signing anyone. Okay, yeah, all right. Why not? Why not? We'll give it a go. Squad selection, you have a minimum of 25 players, maximum of 50, and that's about it, to be honest. And Brazilian transfers. So Flamengo have spent £26 million already. Sport Recife have bought in 8. And players out is Atletico Mineiro, who I think have released quite a few people on free transfers. Paulinho has moved on a free transfer from Al Hilal to Corinthians. And De La Sata, a very good attacking midfielder, has moved from Cruzeiro to Flamengo for 12.75 million. I think Cruzeiro got relegated, haven't they? Cruzeiro are relegated. They are in Serie B. Interesting. Very interesting. Right. Transfer rules then. I've sort of touched on it a little bit. This first intro video is just all about introducing the rules, and we'll look at the squad. Maybe this episode, it could be a bit longer because of the intro video and the history video, but we'll have a little look at stuff in a minute. But transfer rules, okay? We are not allowed to sign anyone for money, or, well, the rules I was originally going to do is we're not allowed to sign anyone for transfer money while our balance is negative. We've started with an overall positive balance. We're going to change that to be we're not going to sign anyone for money ever, I think, until our loan has paid off. Which, if this save is going for 19 years, I'm going to be a little bit worried. So the plan is, and I'm open to comments and suggestions, we don't sign anyone for money. So that means we're looking at Bosman free transfers, free loan transfers where we're not paying any wages or maybe wages is okay, but we're not paying transfer fees for loans. As I said, I'm open to suggestions. Get this in the comments below. The whole point is that Botafogo have not been able to sort out their finances since 2007. Since signing that very lucrative deal in 2007, it's all gone to pot. And we need to sort that out. And I feel like maybe it's a net transfer thing. We can only spend money that we bring in. But again, at the moment, 25% of our transfer revenue is only being made available. So if we sell someone for £10 million, we're only going to be able to spend 2.5 million of that. I'm struggling with maths today. 2.5 million of that. Maybe that's how we play it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think we should do in revolving around transfers. Originally, as I said, it was going to be no money spent. No transfer fees are allowed to be spent. Only wages and only free transfers and only loans, basically, is what I was going to do. You might want me to say no transfers at all. It's a youth academy save. Let's go for that. As I said, get it in the comments. I will read them. I always read every comment anyway. So let me know. Right, and with that, let's go and look at the squad. So, people that we know have been mentioned before. Joel Carley, I think it would be. Yeah, 4.1 grand a week, 35 years old. I'm a bit concerned it says foreigner by his name, which means there's going to be foreign rules. 6'4", great jumping reach, gate heading, will be wonderful from corners. I'm not sure how much he's going to be played because of his age. But, you know, he's susceptible to injuries, but then he does like big matches. He's very consistent. He's just on quite a big wage for a 35-year-old. We'll have to see how it's going. Obviously, did come back after the stint that he played for the club before. Not really a goal-scoring centre-back, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Obviously, Carlinhos we have looked at very, very briefly before. Very attacking left-sided fullback. Been at the club now for a year, but obviously in-game he hasn't because we've got a data update. But yeah, again, not really that much of a goal-scoring fullback if you look at his career attributes and career stats. Always been in Brazil, floated between the lower divisions for a while, then got his sort of crack with Cortiba in Serie A, and then has sort of just gone around a little bit, really. Heavily reliant on loan transfers, which we'll look at in a minute when we go through the positions. Key players then, let's go and have a look at the top ability players. Goalkeeper, Gatito Fernandez, a 33-year-old again. It's that mix of experience and youth. We're going to have to slowly try and replace these experienced players with youth academy products. But looks like a decent keeper. More than likely with the ability like that, he's going to be our first choice goalkeeper. Yeah, looks fine, doesn't he? Looks fine. Again, foreign national, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Kanu is a very highly rated sort of younger defender in real life as well. There's quite a lot of chat around him, and we'll probably be selling him for quite a packet, I imagine. But yeah, he's done fine at Botafogo. He's sort of broke into the first team over the last couple of years in real life, and he will be our starting centre-back. I'm fairly sure of that. We're just going to go through a few more. Luis Fernandez as an attacking midfield, right or left, comes with a bucket of pace, crossing and dribbling ability-ish. Again, lots of good green stuff, not too many red-orange stuff, which is good. Doesn't like to get stuck into challenges, and needs to improve his penalties. He's 13 at penalties. I think that was better than anyone we've got at Wrexham. So yeah, that's quite an interesting thing to do. Now, obviously, I've got the Sunderland formation. If you haven't seen the Sunderland series, go and check it out. It was absolutely fantastic to do. I do have that Sunderland formation. I'm probably going to try and not use that. I'm going to try and actually build a system that works with the players we have, and then try and bring through the youth academy and staff members that can also utilise the same sort of structure and the same systems and the pressing and the attacking play and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, right. Holding midfield. Oh no, centre midfield. Klaus is another one in there. 27 years old, 3.6 grand a week. Interesting to see what we can get out of him. Looks like he wants to be a wide centre-back, so potentially opening that up to 3 at the back would be interesting. Formations I've not really used too much in Football Manager this year, but a 3 at the back could be interesting. Right-footed, tall at 6'2", good head in. Again, a pretty good centre-back, looks pretty decent. Obviously, I have no idea how any of these players compare to anyone else in the league, so we'll have to find out. Barreto at holding midfield, 26 years old, so some time to grow as well. Ball-winning midfielder, looks pretty good. I mean, you can see already there's a drop-off in sort of technical stats with the ball-winning midfielder, but again, lots of green, not much red. In fact, he has a competitive streak, which means he'll probably pick up a number of bookings, something you don't really want as a ball-winning midfielder who will have get stuck in on an aggression 14. But, again, he's getting there, isn't he? He's getting there. He should be okay. And and his name is fantastic. Gustavo Bonato Barreto is a wonderful, wonderful name. It really is. Right, we've looked at Carlinhos and Fabinho, a 35-year-old holding midfielder who has been around a fair bit in Brazil, playing for Internacional Ceará Figueirense. He's been around for a while, and it'll be interesting to see how he gets on, because, again, another ball-winning midfielder. Is that really what we want? Do we really want a team of just ball-winning midfielders? It doesn't sound very technically friendly, like entertaining, but, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, 35 years old again. It'll be interesting to see what happens when these players get to the end of their contracts, which I will get onto in a minute, because there's quite a few of them expiring at the end of 2022. But the last player I wanted to touch on is this man. Rafael da Silva, ex-Man United right-back. I think he had a stint at Lyon as well, yeah. Man United, Lyon, Istanbul, Başakşehir, and then Botafogo is where he finds himself now. And he's got a lot to offer from right-back, yeah. I mean, we're playing him and Carlinhos, are two pretty old fullbacks that love to attack, right? They've kept some pace, they've kept some stamina, they've got the crossing and the dribbling ability. We're going to have to get quite a lot out of these guys for, I think, anything to happen. So, composure is poor. He is fairly poor in the air, and he's not going to improve, and his chemistry doesn't really fit in with the rest of the team. However, he is a good player for most Serie A teams, which is good. He has bravery and high work rate. He is brave, which means he dives into other situations and tries to win the ball. He's versatile. His training's been good. He's a leader. He's a perfectionist, which is great. Now, there's a chance he might become club captain or vice captain. Not sure yet. We'll have to look and see. But it's interesting. I mean, Rafael da Silva's here. There's a little link to Man United. Love it. Absolutely love that. And then the only other thing I do really want to touch on is strikers, because it's an interesting situation. Our oldest striker is 22, and that is Vinicius Lopez, who does look pretty good. The assistant manager thinks his best position would be out wide, which is, again, interesting when we might be playing with 3 at the back. Lack of determination, which means he's not really going to progress any better, but does have overall speed, incredible stuff. So 13 is pretty good at a lower sort of level of football. But so that's our oldest one, who's 22 and on £850 a week. Mateus Nascimento, who is 17 and on £975 a week, is an advanced forward. Again, blessed with pretty much good pace. Finishing and composure is very decent. Really highly rated potentially. There you go. Could improve a lot in the future. So we'll have to see what he turns into. One under 20 cap for Brazil at the moment already. And then Gabriel Conceição. You'll notice all the strikers are in the same mould. Acceleration, pace, finishing, lacks a bit of composure. Again, quite highly rated potentially. Has a good fit with chemistry, trains well, lots of potential, balance and normal personality, flair and dribbling ability looks good. Can't cross. Currently operating at a Serie C level, which is quite a hindrance. Selfish player and can only play as an out-and-out striker. So, strikers are definitely a problem. That is definitely an issue we have. One, none of them are really good. Two, they are all the same sort of striker, which gives us no sort of plan B. And three, they're all really young. None of them have experience. They're all there because of potential. And in fact, Conceição's 6 foot, Vinicius Lopez is 5'11", and not Goncalves, that's not who I wanted to look at. Vinicius Lopez is 5'11". So, yeah, it's not going to be brilliant. Nascimento's 6 foot. So, yeah, there's really no plan B in terms of a striking option. You can't really have a little man, big man combo. You can't really have a target man if you want to change up the system. And again, the Sunderland save will hopefully showed how much I enjoyed having 2 different systems to rotate between and having a different sort of striker to bring on. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Right, this is going to drag on for a little bit, but I did just want to quickly look at the loan players to see who we've got in on loan. So Jonathan Silva does look like a very good left back who will be competing with Carlinhos at left back. 4.4 grand a week we're paying. 23 years old. He's on loan from Almeria in Spain. And yeah, I mean, in theory, if we could terminate loans, I probably would, because I imagine these have all finished now in real life. But we'll have to wait and see. On loan from Cabo Friense is for £375 is 19-year-old central midfielder Wendell Lesser, who, let's be honest, doesn't look very good. Keikui, I think it would be. Another holding midfielder, another ball-winning midfielder. £210 a week we're paying for him. 21 years old. Again, doesn't look fantastic. Would probably ask for wages. Okay, so he's going to ask for low wages. Is consistent. He's doing a work in training, but not at a Serie A level at the moment, which is very interesting. Felipe Ferreira on loan. Right winger and attacking midfielder, 27 years old, £950 a week, on loan from Ferreira SP, which I think means Sao Paulo, who are not a very good team. They play in Serie D. So we currently have someone on loan from Serie D who doesn't like big matches, isn't very determined. His agent would ask for a big fee, and he would be a leading player for Serie C teams. So, I mean, the loanies aren't looking brilliant at the moment. They're really not. Diego Goncalves, then, is probably the best of the bunch. Left or right wing. Currently operating at Serie B level. He wants a big wage, but we're not going to probably pay him permanently, I'd imagine. Peripheral figure, but again, a fair amount of green. Consistency, improvement, versatility. 2.5 grand a week we're paying him. 27 years old. He is on loan from Mirassol, who play in Serie C. So they're sort of they probably got rid of him to get rid of some wages, I'd imagine, because he's on 5 grand a week. So we're paying half of it at the moment. Now, as I said, I'm sort of the notion that if the transfer window is open now and we can terminate these loans, we will. Okay, so there is the option. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think we should be terminating these loans, or do we keep them here because they're pre-arranged? I will do some research and see if these loans have finished in real life, because I want the squad to be as realistic as possible. That's the idea, right? Starting from the same position that Botafogo are in right now, because the Brazilian league is just about to start. Maybe hasn't started. I think it'll be the Rio State thing. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, there we are. That is the intro to the Botafogo Bankrupt save or Bankrupt Botafogo save. Let me know what you think in the comments. How do you think it's going to go? If you know anything about the Brazilian league, please do comment below. If you are living in Brazil, welcome to the series. Please tell me around what all these competitions are and what is going to happen with them. But we'll leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed the little intro history video as well. We'll be back for, hopefully, the opening game of the Rio State Championship, I imagine. Yeah, I think that's what we'll be back for, which is actually just over a month away in game. So I've got a bit of playing to do, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Go and check out the Sunderland save if you've not seen that. Go and check out the second channel if you want to see some Let's Plays of different games. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. I'm out. Cheers.